Welcome back to the Becoming More podcast, episode number 33. It's the magic number. Here on Becoming More, we go in depth talking to some amazing people about how they have changed their lives dramatically and have inspired others to work towards the same. Today, I'm joined by Levi. He has a fantastic story to tell, and without any further ado, I'm going to let him tell it. Levi, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Doing good. How's it going?
I'm doing pretty well. It's a crazy weekend of football here, and while in the divisional round, if you're a fan or not,
Yeah.
I just finished. I was watching a little bit tonight, and crazy. So, as I like to ask everyone on the show, I like to ask you, what is the bottom line of your journey so far? Because Levi said so.
That there are no limitations. There's always an opportunity to grow and get better. There's always an opportunity to learn. There's so much time on this earth that you have a real good opportunity to make the best of it and to be better from it. There's so many things that people realistically put limits on themselves. And if you take those shackles off, you can do anything.
Very true. Very true. So we'll get to that, kind of like where you got to that mindset. But I like to kind of go with everyone is just kind of get a background on how you got to the point where because I know if you follow you on Instagram, you'll see at your heaviest you were over 400, right?
Yes.
So how did you get to from like growing up? Were you like an athlete at all? Were you just heavy growing up? Do you have experiences that led to like gain things like that, like to kind of set the stage for where we go in our discussion towards the end?
Yeah. So my background is I'm from Providence, Rhode Island, and I come from a line of heavy people. My mother's heavy, my father was heavy, my sister's heavy, and we always curbed our emotions with food. Like I was picked on a lot as a kid. I was bullied a lot as a kid. So one of the things that, my mom tried to do, like all moms try to do, they try to, comfort you and stuff like that. But my comfort was food. So I remember one year, I think I was 9 years old and I was like 100 pounds. And then when I was 10 years old, I was 180. So my weight exponentially just increased. And it was because I was just eating like a lush. Like I was eating everything under the sun because I was so depressed. I was getting picked on and I was different. And it was the same thing with my sister because my sister I love her to death. She was 5'7" at like 9 years old. So everybody just like picked on the tall kid, So we were always bullied and stuff like that and picked on and, made to feel bad because we were different. So we just ate. And that went on through junior high and high school, my freshman year of high school. And then I told my dad, I was like, I want to play football. I love watching football. I mean, we got the divisional games going on right now. But it was something I always loved watching football. It was something that we did together because our relationship, my father was very strict. And he didn't have time to really like be like the emotional support of like you come to him with issues. His response was toughen up and deal with it. And my mom would be overcaring and try to do all the extra stuff, like in with the comfort and whatever. But I told him I wanted to play football. And when I played football, I was 15 and I was around 330 pounds. And I played my first year of football and I lost weight. I went down and I got down to 275 pounds within 2-3 months because I was active for like the first time in my life. And then I also, after football, my coach was like, why don't you go out for wrestling? And I went out for wrestling. And then I went for track. And I didn't have any healthy eating habits. So when I wrestled, I got down to a low weight. And it was probably the lowest I'd been at that point was 240 pounds. So within 1 year, I dropped 90 pounds. And I was like, all right, sweet, this is awesome. And then I didn't do anything over the summer. I come back to football camp next year and I'm 310 pounds again. So then I had to lose the weight all over again my junior year. And I asked my coach, Coach Sneed, like, hey, like I really want to take this year to the next level with wrestling because I loved wrestling. He's like, well, we're going to have these like diets and that we're going to do. And it was basically chicken, broccoli, rice, all like the staple, like, you know, bodybuilding diet and stuff like that. He said, we're going to get you in the gym. We're going to lift weights. We're going to keep you active the whole year. And I did that. And I maintained 255 pounds like the whole year. And then after high school, the parade was over. There was no more football. I didn't have a scholarship, and just ballooned right back up in college. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't active. I was kind of depressed at the fact that I finally kind of like found myself with sports, and then it was all over. And then I just kept eating and eating and eating, and I just swelled up to a point where it was like I was around 330 pounds, and I maintained that weight for all through college, and then after college for a little bit, and then started working after college. I had like, there was no jobs available. I graduated in the worst time. It was like 2008. So there was like no jobs, like whatever. So I have started working at Walmart. And when I was working at Walmart, it was crazy because I met my now wife there, and I was 300. I don't know how much I really was, but I know it was a lot because the scale went up to 330 pounds, and it would just say error when I got on the scale. And that was kind of, I was like, well, you know, like I feel all right, so I'm okay. You know, you play that game with yourself and you lie to yourself saying, yeah, I'm good. I'm all right. I'm still breathing and whatever. And then I got pretty sick one year, and I was like in my 20s. So I think I was like 29, and I had like kidney stones, and I got really, really sick. I had to get rushed to the ER, and it was pretty alarming because I was like, wow, this is the first time I really don't feel good. And I wound up losing weight. I dropped back down to 230 pounds again. And I felt good. I felt great. I was leaning out, you know. I was starting to see at that point having loose skin and mentally struggling to deal with that. And I wound up switching stores and going on to the overnight shift. And within 10 months, I was already back up to 350 pounds. And I left Walmart, went to another company that I'm still with now. And what I did was I had a ton of transition happen at once. So I was transferred stores. I was planning my wedding. And I had, with my oldest stepdaughter, she had her first child on the way. So we were like, had all this stuff going on. So the month I got married, I transferred stores, had a grandson, and inherited my 3 stepkids. So the stress went from here, like, you know, it was just compounding and whatever. And I just, bad habits, I ate my feelings. Like the whole process, I would eat my feelings. If I was depressed, I would eat. If I was stressed, I would eat. And I wasn't eating healthy foods. I was eating Burger King twice a day, Dunkin' Donuts twice a day. My wife's Portuguese, so she's feeding me because she loves to cook. She loves to make sure that they nurture with food. And it was at a point where I was working and I passed out in the bathroom. I thought, because, you know, being bullied and picked on, I have anxiety, right? So like I would always get nervous in situations or something like that. If it was a newer situation, I would just freak out and panic. And I thought it was one of those moments, and I passed right out because I've had that where I've had anxiety where I struggle to breathe. But it wasn't that. I wound up passing out. I told my store manager, like, yeah, I just passed out in the bathroom. I really don't know what happened. He's like, go to the doctor and get checked out. And I went to the doctor. They didn't have a scale that could weigh me because the scale was only up to 380 pounds. And I had to get weighed downstairs on a special scale. And that's when I found out I weighed 405 pounds. They did the EKG on my heart. And that's when I found out I had a mild heart attack. at 32 years old.
Wow. Yeah, it's quite a like just to hear that come out of somebody's mouth to tell you that you had a heart attack is scary,
Mhm.
right? I mean, I had a pulmonary embolism at 33, so I can relate to the age and the severity of the condition. So when you heard that you had a heart attack, were you like, was it like a fire got lit under you shortly after that you're like, I need to make a change, I need to like work towards getting under 400 and try to lose weight, or was it just like, was it a slow like snowball that kind of happened after that?
I honestly, I went into denial.
Yeah.
I wish I could say, you know what, it's all right. Like I lit a fire into me. Like immediately I got back into the gym. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't get into the gym until 6 months after the heart attack. And I wasn't doing anything that the doctor told me to do. I was still eating. I was still like just wallowing in my depression. And my grandson, we had his first Christmas. And I remember watching him open gifts and open presents. I think I have the video still on my phone of like his first Christmas. He was around, I want to say 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him opening gifts. And then he came and he sat on my lap. And I was like, it hit me then, like, if I don't get my crap together, I'm going to miss this. I'm not going to be able to see these moments. I'm not going to see him grow up. I'm not going to see him get married. I'm not going to see him graduate, do any of that crap. I'm just going to be that figure of, oh, I wish he was here, but he died young.
Mm-hmm.
And January 1st, 2019, I got a gym membership to Planet Fitness. Not the best, but it was there. Not the best gym. I mean, it's all on the memes right now, but like I got a membership over there. And every day after work, 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, I'll get on the treadmill and just work. Just work.
Yeah.
And it wasn't till I had lost relatively quickly because I went back to my wrestling diet. I went back to chicken, broccoli, and rice, oatmeal in the morning, no sugar, I can't say no sugar, but no soda, like the high calorie soda, drink diet soda, or drink water, something that you need something. I went from eating to approximately, when I checked it, it was around, I want to say 10,000 to 11,000 calories a day to 2,100 to 1,800 calories a day. And my body, it felt it like the first week.
Oh yeah.
Like the first week, I'm like, oh my God, like, oh, I need some energy. I need food. And I sucked it up and I was like, I can't quit. I can't stop. I can't give up on myself. I've given up on myself too many times for so long. I can't quit. And the weight just kept coming off of me. And I remember on my Instagram, I put a post generically just saying I'm at the gym. And a friend of mine commented, he's like, BS, you're not at the gym. You're not. And I had to like, he's like, take a picture and prove it. So I took like my first gym selfie, and this was after I lost, like, I went from 405 to like 295.
Mm-hmm.
And I took my first gym selfie and it got a lot of likes, and people was like, wow, you're great, you're doing good, keep going. And people don't think that means something, but it does. Like, just to have, like, sometimes, like, when you're struggling with a day you don't want to go, sometimes putting up that picture just holds you accountable a little bit longer, where you can just, what, at least I did something for me today. And during those times where I didn't feel like going, where I didn't feel like, oh man, I really wish I don't have to push it today, and this, that, and the third, I would tell myself 10 more minutes to save your life.
Yeah.
10 more minutes. If you can go hard for 10 more minutes, you are saving your life. And you know who you're doing it for. And at the time, I was doing it for my grandson, Julian. We call him Juju. I was doing it for him. Every piece of it was for him. Every minute was for him. Every drop of sweat. I was like, I am not missing this. And sucked it up. And then the next thing I know, I was like, I saw there was follow Obese to Beast on YouTube,
Mhm.
and I came across his Obese to Physique series where he did like a bodybuilding show. I was like, I want to do that. Because at that point, I had already hit my goal weight. My goal weight was to be the weight I was in high school at 255 pounds. Then I was like, let's keep going. Let's see how far you can really go. And I dieted down to 175 pounds.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
that was the day I weighed in. When I weighed in the day ago, I was 175. And so from January 1st, 2019 to 11/19/2019, just before Thanksgiving, I lost 230 pounds.
Amazing, man.
And
So I did want to kind of circle back to something you said. When you were in the gym and that when you had lost the first 100 or so, right? And your friend says, "Oh no way, you're not at the gym." And like that to me, the first thing that stuck out to me in my mind was how many times or how many of us that are in a weight loss journey in the community, you'll hear they don't want to they'll have a weight loss page, right? Or they'll have like a weight loss account because they don't want people in their real life to hear what they're doing or see what they're doing.
yeah,
And that just struck me there. But then as soon as you did have that selfie and you got all that positive feedback on your account, because like so often I know for me, when I would be out walking a lot and I'd get people commenting to me about my weight, or like even a couple weeks ago at work, I saw somebody I hadn't seen in a couple years, like before I even
yeah,
started the journey, and they were like, you lose weight?" And because I mean,
yeah,
and I was like, yeah, and they're like, how much you lose? I'm like, I lost like over 200 at my best, and they're like, and then and then you get like the well, damn, kind of
yeah,
thing, right? And because they don't really know when they're not really paying attention, right? Um, but those things like just lead to even it's just creating more of a positive reinforcement of what you're doing. So it's always good to hear those things, right? And I'm sure like that just was like every time you heard that, you're like, man, F yes, I'm going to keep going to the next thing, whatever it might be, right? In your journey. Um, which speaking of, as you were like going through like your entire time from like when you started, changing your diet from the 10, 11,000 calories to the 18 to 2,100, did you like follow? I know you started with the bodybuilder diet. Did you change it up at all throughout as you were getting lower? Or did you just kind of stay with that for most of it?
work with well, right now my diet is extremely flexible. I work on basically hitting a goal of like certain calories, and for me my calorie goal is like, for me at maintenance is like 3,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's just because of how I am and how much muscle I carry now. So I know if I eat anywhere between 3,200 and 3,000, I'll maintain my weight. So I generally have a wide variety of like food that I eat. I still love like my oatmeal and protein and stuff like that, but I'll have, chicken, beef, rice, cauliflower. I experimented with like the vegan diet, which that was actually pretty cool. And I incorporate some vegan foods like tofu, tempeh, and seitan into my diet as well. Fruits, vegetables, definitely greens and stuff like that, especially now that I'm dieting. Like, can't I load my plate up with greens? Um, so I make sure I have a wide variety of foods that I eat. Yogurt, plain Greek yogurt, and I also I do allow myself to have like, if I hit my calories for the week and I do something, if I want to eat something, I eat it. Like if I want a Rice Krispie treat, I eat a Rice Krispie treat. I just make sure that I have it in moderation, and to make sure that I have proper portions of food and stuff like that. So that way I still give myself a little taste of everything. However, I know that I won't mess up my goals because I'm very like, once I get into something, I'm into it, and I'm very much so into bodybuilding. So I like to have a lot of foods, but I'm also very like, I don't track year round either. But like, if when you've been dieting long enough, how many calories something is and proper portions and stuff like that. So I always tell people the best thing you could do is to find a diet that works for you and work it. Like for me, like I like having a wide variety of foods. For some people, it might be the strict foods that get them to where they need to be. But it's gonna sound corny, but like we're all our own little snowflake, right? So like if you what works for you may not work for me, what works for me may not work for the next person, but I can have a wide variety of foods and lose weight or even just to maintain weight and put on muscle. So I try to make sure that I have like the things that I like, also the things that I need.
Yeah, and I really like what you said about how you tried you did vegan for a little bit, and then you took things that you liked from it, which is something I tell people a lot. Is find things that you can do. Because like if you can't do it, like you can say,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I should do vegan or I should do keto or paleo or whatever WW whatever it might be, and then they find
Mm-hmm.
themselves, well, I don't really like this. Like I personally didn't like. For me, I didn't like when I was on the keto diet. Like I tried it,
Yeah.
and I was like I don't like this, but I liked parts of it. Like I took things I learned from it and I incorporate in what I do. So I don't go
Mm-hmm.
heavy carb like I used to, like back when I was probably doing 10, 11,000 calories, just like you were, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing heavy carbs. So now I just try to be conscious of my carbs instead of being like,
Yeah, exactly.
but I couldn't go totally like all the way, like no carb or very low carb. So yes, that's awesome. And there's always like a million different diets, and you go on Instagram, if you're on Instagram at all like talking about weight loss, you'll get somebody hitting you up for some kind of special tea
Yeah.
or weight loss magic
Yep.
trick that
All
there
the
is
time.
not one.
There's always some tea, a supplement, or fat burner, or whatever it is. It's like, yeah, you lose weight by calories in, calories out. It's science, like a lot of time, like if you're like, oh, I lost weight on keto, you lost weight because you're in a calorie deficit,
Hmm.
and I think a lot of the time, like, but if it works for you and you're happy, do it. But if you're not happy and you're not going to stick to it, like, then you're just going to fail at another diet and you'll be all upset. So that's why I always tell people, find what works for you and do it. You have to enjoy the process. Like the first time when I dieted, when I was losing the weight, the first week was rough, but after that, saw how my body was changing, and then after that, my stomach was shrinking. So then the 2,100 calories actually kept me full. So and then you learn, you educate yourself on like, okay, what keeps you fuller at lower calories? Well, if you have higher fiber in your diet, you're going to be fuller for longer. What gives you more fiber? Well, there's a lot in greens, there's a lot in broccoli, but there's also like there's certain things where like, you look at protein powders. Some protein powders have like 5 grams of fiber. So if you do 2 scoops, that's 10 grams of fiber. You're gonna feel full for longer. And then you learn how to cook. That's the thing is I see a lot of big people that we're big, but we didn't know how to cook. Like like we're used to eating and having somebody do it for us. But like you learn how to cook. Like I used to cook all the time, but it was just so unhealthy. Like fried chicken, fried fish, fried everything fried, swimming in oil. But then you learn like how to actually like do things on the grill or like to put things in the oven or how to bake. Like I still can't bake, but like at least I can try now. So, but
Hmm.
it's you learn you have these things where you take a little bit of everything and you pull it into yourself. Like life is with the experiences, right? So if you experience something and you don't like it, you're not going to take anything from it. But if you experience something and you like it, you're like, oh, I like this. I don't like all of it, but I like this. And then you start pulling little pieces to make something that works for you. So
Yeah, definitely. And kind of speaking of, you kind of were talking earlier about you got to love the process, right? And one of
mm,
the parts of the process that I find is one of the most seminal or most important is the non-scale victories. Because and I like to ask everybody kind of like what are some of yours that you've experienced during your journey? Because I feel like so many people get hung up on the number on the scale, or like other things that aren't moving the way they want it to. But the non-scale victories I find
mm,
always help me like stay focused, even when I didn't see the scale number going down. Like fitting in a restaurant booth, that was like a huge one for me.
yeah.
So what would be some of your like favorite non-scale victories you experienced during your journey?
Um, my mom being able to hug me and put her arms fully.
Oh, for sure.
Um,
Yeah.
she has she hasn't been able to do that since I was like 21, 22. So that was one. Um, my I would say probably working and Actually, you know what? This is probably one that I actually cried. I am not ashamed to say it. I cried with this one when I got, and I've never been a size 30 anything in pants, like anything. I was the lowest I've gotten was like a 40. And then when I got into a size 38, I was in a change room and I bawled out crying because I was like, oh my God, like I've never been this small as an adult, you know? And it was so impressive to me. Like I couldn't fathom like not, I couldn't fathom being that big again, you know, where I was like, you know, that's my grandson in the back over there.
That's cool.
Grandma.
Yeah.
So I couldn't fathom like being that big again, because at that point when I was so big, I was wearing like a size 58 pants.
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
Yeah. So it was definitely like it was definitely something that changed and made my mindset like, you know what, this is important. This is something that will change and help not just me, but help others and help my family, because now they see it, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, as you're going down this road of, because I want to talk about as well is, you know, you talked about competing bodybuilding. One, I'm trying to play dumb because I just want to get your whole story. Have you competed in any shows, and do you have any coming up that you're like working towards?
Yeah. I competed in an NPC show and a men's physique show in 2019. And I wanted to compete last year, but in 2021, but things just didn't pan out. I was overreaching on my training, and I really was like pushing way too hard with my training. And I wound up just being so exhausted, so tired that I was just like, I can't do it. And then this year, I wound up taking some time off from the gym to actually, you know, get my body right and be physically, you know, ready to go. Because I'm going to be 37. Like I can't do what I used to do 10 years ago. I can barely do what I used to do 5 years ago. Like you know, for me, it's like taking the rest days, taking the opportunity to recover, and admitting that father time does catch up to all of us. So I will be doing a show in Connecticut in April 28th. It's done with it's a WBFF show, and it's going to be, there's also the fitness expose that's there, radical body transformations, because I'm working with I do work with them, like with Anthony Lally. I think you had him on.
Yeah, I did have him on about a month ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working with him a little bit, trying to help people get involved with the transformation challenge. And I was like, I've been wanting to compete, and this is a good opportunity. I always have vacation time up in April, so I was like, yeah, I'll do it. But it's something that's very like important for me, that just to really test myself, and that's what the competitions are. I don't worry about winning. I worry about beating me and myself, and see how far I can really, like, you know, like I came in, I did my competition. I was 175 in 2019. If I compete this year, when I compete this year, I'll probably be 200 pounds on stage. So I know I'll put on at least anywhere between 20 to 25 pounds of muscle. So I'm being very happy with that.
Awesome. Yeah. I wish you the best of luck. I know it's not an easy thing to do. So it's definitely not easy. But and like you said, you know, and I feel like this is a lot like true with a lot of things in life is, you know, you're not out there. The rankings and the placements will take care of themselves. Like you just got to do your best. Right. And that's what you can do. Because if you drive yourself to like, well, I'm going to get like first place, and well, it might not be your first place. It might not, you might have your best day ever, but somebody might just be that much better, right, in the eyes of whoever makes these judgments at the competition. So it's never like, it's not always up to you. It's up to whoever. External factors is what I mean. So there's always external factors to everything we do. So I like your mindset going into it. So it's definitely definitely good, and I feel like you'll crush it based on past
Thanks. Yeah,
experiences, right?
I'm gonna try. Like my goal is to be very conditioned, but also be very muscular. And I'm doing it with the loose skin because it took me a while to get comfortable with the loose skin. Which I think talking to a lot of people that ask me questions about weight loss and stuff like that, the biggest hang up people have is the loose skin. Like they don't know how to deal with it, and there's a lot of mental hurdles about it. And I tell people, I saw this on Alex Poro's post, and I say it a lot now. It's either you can have clogged arteries or loose skin. You choose.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's just loose skin. Like, would you rather have the loose skin or it filled up with fat and fluid? Like, I mean, it's way easier to deal with loose skin.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like people like Alex and Obese to Beast and others who have a loose skin are really out there showing that it's okay to have it. Like, it's not that it never wasn't okay, but people have the stigma against it because they're like, well, I'd lose I might be 400 pounds, but if I got down to 150, 175 or 180, I'd have all this loose skin and that would be awful too. And I'm like, well, that wouldn't be worse than being that overweight, right? Because you have so many other problems that come with it. So a little loose skin can be dealt with. And if you don't like it, eventually you could get it removed if you wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people, even I tell anybody, if it's becoming like a point where it's not like it impedes your life, by all means, but if it's something where it's like you have a choice, I always say this: the choice is yours, but you should love yourself before and after. Like a lot of the times people think they're going to get the loose skin surgery and everything's going to be fine. It's going to be perfect. Everything's going to be okay. But if you don't fix your mentality of that, you know what? Loose skin or not, I love me. Like I know for me personally, I would want the loose skin surgery, but I got no shame in my body and how it looks right now. I love me, of the process of what I've done to change it. And, it's something that is doesn't get talked about a lot, but it's something that should get talked about a lot, is that you have to have that self-love for yourself. You have it to change, but you also have to accept that this is who you are and then go to the next level,
Oh, for sure. And, and I feel like a lot of that's just the more people like us talking about it and others talking about it just helps bring that out. And I had a loose skin type of surgery myself at one point. Because I was impeding, and when I had that done, like it luckily was covered by medical insurance. So that's the one caveat I had, because I know a lot of them are not, so they're not cheap by any means. But if you can get it and if you want to get it, go for it. And if you don't. It's like it's a personal choice, and you can do whatever you want. And it's
that
exactly. And whenever somebody says, well, somebody will judge me, I'm like, fuck them, because I really don't have time for it.
Oh my God, like legit, it's so true, because I don't like I'm at a point like now where like I get this more than anything else, right? Because they see me on Instagram, they see like the posts and like much I flex and whatever, and the number one thing that I get is, well, there's two questions. Do you have loose skin? And I'd be like, yeah, of course I do. I show a picture of like myself with my loose skin. It's like, oh wow, you look amazing. Are you on steroids? That is the next question that I get. It's like like one, I'm big. Like if you see me in a hoodie, I look rather small. But two, it's like there is people that work hard. Not saying if you're on steroids, don't. But it's like there is a process. Stuff takes time. Like if you look at the 3-year difference of when I started lifting to now, you're going to see a massive change. It's not like I blew up like, oh yeah, I was 175 last week and 210 pounds this week. Like, no, it takes time. Everything takes time, including your weight loss. So if you have that mindset of like, okay, it's a marathon, not a sprint, you're going to win. And the win is beating yourself from yesterday. You can be better than what you were yesterday. If yesterday was a bad day, make today a great day. And if it was a great day, then let's build on to make it even a better day, But so many people get lost in that mindset of like looking what everybody else is doing. Like pay attention with yourself and focus on yourself and win the day for you, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, especially when the journey's long, because like some people have it where, you know, Anthony Lawley, he had it, he had what, like 9 months, he hit his goal weight, right? And then he went into bodybuilding shows. And then some people have it for like 5 years. So before they hit their goal weight, like not everybody's the same, everybody's story is different, everybody's journey is different. You have regain, you have loss, you have mental struggles, you have job struggles, you have like there's real life out there. So all that comes into play too. So you can't like kick yourself down just because you like, you know, if you even if you had a year where you wound up gaining over the last year, like you can, I mean, I did last year. So, you know, you just refocus and you just keep going because like as long as you don't quit, like if you quit, that's when it ends. But as long as you keep going, you'll get there. All right. So kind of getting towards the end here because I want to respect your time as well. I like to ask every guest about a hobby or interest they have outside of weight loss, fitness, all that stuff. And I was just curious what yours is for this.
My hobby of choice, honestly, is I do love playing video games. I'm into Madden 2K. My stepson got me into Fortnite, so I used to play that all the time. And I mean, I love cars. I love going to shows. I love like spending time and doing stuff like that because it's just like one. I love old school cars, like the new stuff. Like you see, like the 2019 GTR. I love that car, but like I know it's like it's a 2019, but that's like my favorite of the newer cars. But I love old cars, like the Dodge Challenger, like the 1970 Dodge Challenger is probably one of my favorites. Love the Shelby Mustang.
My dad's one friend, he won at a casino in Pennsylvania. He won like $1 million on blackjack, like a progressive jackpot. And he went and bought a '69 Mustang.
Yeah, I would too.
I saw it and I was like, man, that's nice. Like, because you know, you see Mustangs from the '80s, and I mean, we've all seen newer ones that are much nicer than the '80s ones. But I remember the '80s ones when I was growing up, and they were awful. But the '69's gorgeous.
Yeah, like if you go anywhere within the 60s, like 66 to 69 is a good year for any Mustang. And then with the Dodge Chargers, like the Dodge Charger, like the 1971 is amazing. So the same thing with the Challenger. I do like the newer Challengers because they kind of have like that reminiscent feel like the older ones, but nothing beats old school American muscle. Nothing, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, I'm still I've seen the new Mustang, the one that's like the electric Mustang that's like early like a hatchback. I'm like, that's not a Mustang, first of all, but second of all, I'm like, that thing is but ugly.
It is like it looks like a vacuum. Like there's nothing like to it. Right, disgusting.
And every time I see one, they're in like the ugliest colors. Like one's like a mustard yellow. I've seen like a neon green.
You know what it is, and I swear it's like they see stuff that's like replicate in movies, and they try to replicate it. Like they try to see something like, oh, this color is popular, so we're gonna put it in. Like, no, a classic is a classic. A classic color is a classic color. But if a car is ugly, it's an ugly car. Like you're not gonna be able. Like I wouldn't drive it or spend money for it.
Yeah, like give me a Mustang in like, you know, blue, red, black, white, silver, something like normal.
Like my favorite color is the cobalt blue with the white stripes.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, awesome. So video games, do you play when you game? Do you PS4? Are you on PlayStation or Xbox for Madden?
I'm on X. Right, I'm an Xbox One. So I do play on that. And with everything going on with like COVID, I've been working like crazy. So I haven't played like, I swear it's been like 4 months since I've like sat down and played video games. But that is something I like to do. I have vacation time coming up, so that's what I was going to do for most of it. But yeah, I'm on Xbox. My stepson, he's lucky kid. He's on his PC, Xbox, and PS5.
Yes. See, PS5. I've been trying to get. I'm a PlayStation guy, but I've been trying to get PS5 because I have buddies and I. Well, there's like 6 of us that are in we do a Madden league every year. So we all play, and then we constantly are in like a text chat. So we're always like when we're playing the next, like we play like 5 or 6 seasons within that one, like within like from like August till now. Now it's usually like late December, early January we start to peter out because we're just like we're into like there's holiday stuff, and then there's football playoffs, and then you're kind of like, I'm kind of done with football now, especially once your team is out of it, right? But
yeah, got out of it today.
Is your team got out of it?
I'm a Tampa Bay fan.
Okay, all right. I thought being in Providence, you'd be a Pats fan. So
see, that's the thing. I was a Pats fan. My family's from North Carolina, so we would always go to North Carolina in the summer. So my team growing up, my dad loved the Cowboys. I hate the Cowboys without question. I was so happy when they lost. But when I got into football, there was like, we would always go to North Carolina, but we didn't have the Carolina Panthers. So my dad was like, you can't just go back and forth between teams that are winning. Pick a team and stick with it. So I picked Tampa Bay Buccaneers because I liked Tony Dungy, and they had Mike Allstott and Warwick Dunn. And I was like, okay, I'm going to stick with this. And I was a fan of theirs when they sucked and when they won the Super Bowl and then when they sucked again. And then when they got Brady, I was a fan the whole way through. I'm not one of those bandwagon ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I hear you. I mean, I remember when you won that first Super Bowl because that was the year you came into Philly and beat us shockingly.
I was shocked at that one too. I believe me, I was too. I thought McNabb and with Deuce Staley in the backfield that they were going to run rampant over our defense because Deuce was going crazy, and then McNabb was just. They were really hyping him up. Like it was like I think year 3 or 4 for him, and that was right before the year they got T.O.
Yeah, it was.
I remember that. That was right before when they got T.O. and they said McNabb was going to be that guy, but the thing never worked out because their number one receiver was Freddie Mitchell. So you take Rondé Barber, who's now famous, and you put him against Freddie Mitchell, is going to be a problem. And then that was really the game for me that it took Derek Brooks to another level. Because he was running roughshod through the middle to the point where Sapp had the front and Simeon was racing, but you had Brooks was just calling out every single play they had. So I thought it was going to be a close game. I was rooting for my team, but the numbers were for Philly to win, and it just didn't materialize.
Yeah, it was tough because I was actually that. So I always wanted to go to games, but I could never get to go to games because they're so expensive for the playoffs. But at least, I mean, especially then I was, my early 20s and I couldn't afford it. But I remember I was actually driving up to New England because I was going with a buddy. We were going to the Royal Rumble in Boston.
Yeah.
And and we're like getting in the hotel. We got to the hotel in downtown Boston, and I'm like, 2003/4. So this is like, you're on your cell phone that has no service, and you're trying to like find any information you can on like. So I was like listening to like I was trying to find a sports station out of Boston on the radio in the car and figure out which one had the game on. And then I finally found it, and like as we're pulling in the garage, and it's like they're like, and it was some touchdown score, and it was like out of hand at that point. I'm like, great. Because like I was really hoping because that was like our third straight NFC Championship game in a row, obviously straight. But it would take another year, and then we get to go and lose to New England. but that's just what happens. But yeah, it's awesome. I did like that the Cowboys lost last week. That was fantastic.
I got it. And the fact that they were hyping up Micah Parsons to be better than Nick Bosa, I was like,
I like Micah Parsons because I'm a Penn Stater, so I'll root for him. But I hate the Cowboys so much.
The thing with Micah is like I know because he went at Penn State. To me, like as much as I do like him, I can't like him because he's a Cowboy now.
Yeah, it's
like,
tough.
I can't. It's just against all codes that I have. Okay, if you're a Cowboy, I hate your guts right now. Like to me, like he went from being like, the most athletic linebacker to ever play at Penn State to as like, you know what? You're not better than LeVar Arrington. So, and I just because he's a Cowboy now, I just have to.
I hear you. I'm just used to it because like they had Sean Lee and now they have him, and I'm like, all right, whatever. Like we could have drafted him, but we picked Devontae instead. So
like Devontae.
Yeah,
I think if he puts some weight on, he'll be all right.
He's a little slight. That 160 is pretty lean for 6'1".
Yeah, he's like 170. He is tiny. But then you look at what was it, Jefferson from the Vikings, he's kind of that same mold, but he's a better route runner right now than Devontae.
Yeah, he
can get away.
Anytime I hear his name, I a little part of me dies each time because we should have drafted him instead of Rager. Because you know, I was watching the draft with a buddy that like we were on fucking FaceTime, and I'm like all right, and I saw Jefferson was still on the board. I'm like, all right, Jefferson is coming to Philly. We're finally gonna get a receiver. And then all of a sudden I hear the Eagles select, and I saw a tweet that it was not Jefferson, and I'm like, it's not Jefferson, and he's like, what? And then I'm like, and then I hear Jalen Rager, and I'm like, who? Because I never even heard. Like, I mean, I don't pay attention to TCU, and then I was like, it's like, who is this guy? And then all you kept hearing was, oh, he's fast. I'm like, this is a mistake. This is going to be terrible, and it is. Like, he's terrible. Actually, the game we played against your team last week, he proved why he should not be a football player, because he lost. He helped lose the game instead of helping win the game.
Yeah, because like the thing with that I love with Jefferson is he did slide because he's small, but then you pick Devontae who's smaller.
Yeah, well, I think we picked Devontae because that was the. I kind of felt like they were going. He was best player, and I think they were going for the Tuscaloosa triangle of Surtain, Devontae, or Waddle, whichever one was left when they picked.
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather have gotten Chase, but you know, we weren't that lucky. We weren't that high.
I will say that I like for your team. I like Hurts. He's got heart.
Yeah, he does. That's one thing. Like like I was glad we got rid of the number 11. Because he just had no heart. Like I remember one of my best friends is a Cowboys fan, right? After we won the Super Bowl, I said to him, he's like, you guys got a problem, and I was like, what's that? And he's like, your Super Bowl MVP is your backup. and I said, yeah, I know. I said I would trade Wentz right now for 2 firsts at least. And kept Foles, and then draft a quarterback and develop them, and then get to move, because Foles wasn't the long-term answer, but they did the reverse. And I was like, the whole time I was like, I cannot get on board with Wentz. There's something about him that always rubbed me the wrong way. It was the Jesus, like it just seemed that he preached way too much to me. And especially, and then he just like, I was talking to my wife as we were watching the game tonight with Buffalo. And I was like, Josh Allen, like Carson Wentz without being erratic. Like he does the things that Wentz did, but he doesn't do the stupid things. Like he doesn't like hold on to the ball too long. He gets rid of it. He doesn't try to extend plays all the time. Things like that. That's what just drove me nuts with Wentz. And then I gotta say, as much as I love the Cowboys losing, I really love when the Colts lost to the Jags, because that just
I did too, because I like Jonathan Taylor, but like Carson is just like one of those guys where I'm just like, for as much talent as he has in that arm, there's nothing between the ears.
Yeah, total head case.
He can't grasp it.
Yeah, I'm curious if they cut him, because I mean they'll take like a $15 million cap hit.
I would, even with the cap hit, I would, because like what did you get from it? You still didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, you're actually worse because you made the playoffs last year, and then this year you don't make the playoffs, and then Jalen Hurts did though.
Running back. He's going to be MVP. He's probably going to be MVP of the league, and you still didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, man. Yeah, football is great. I could talk about it all day, and obviously. All right, so I'm going on from football. I'm going to kind of get into the end of the show here, and we're going to do the Brett's Corner, which is the wrap-up questions I ask everybody. Same 5 questions. So you ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
Number 1, what movie, TV show, or event are you most excited for in the coming year?
The Super Bowl halftime show.
I will have to say that this is the first halftime show I've been excited for in years.
Yeah, I think it's just because it reminds me of my youth. It's like
Dr. Dre. Same here.
Everybody from my friend Nigel, where I train at his gym, I was like, he sent me and I was like, this is either going to be really, really good, or this is going to be like Janet Jackson Justin Timberlake bad, which I'm okay with either one. So
Yeah.
if they stop dropping F-bombs and they start pulling plugs, I'm like, this will be fun. This will be good.
Yeah, I mean, I know like there have been bands that I like that do the Super Bowl halftime show, but then they're not good. It's not a good halftime show. Like I like Coldplay,
Yeah, no.
but their halftime show was awful. And
Yeah.
you know, but I'm really excited because, like you said, it's like we're about the same age, so it's like my youth right there, right? Like ECM,
Yeah.
Eminem was just huge in high school, so I'm like all about. I'm
Yeah,
not really a
me.
big Mary J. Blige fan, but I'm in for all the rest.
Yeah. I think Mary J. Blige was like, I was like, okay, you have all the aftermath death, like in like the aftermath crew in there, and then you have Mary J. Blige. I was like, oh, they're just sprinkling that in there.
Yeah, I almost feel like Missy Elliott would have been the better choice.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, because if the Elliott one, they probably could have brought out like, because they did a song. I think they could have brought out like 50 Cent, and they did a song together, and it would have made all sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's throw in. It'll be all right.
Yeah,
I think that's like it's a safe thing that they're doing over there.
It is pretty safe, and I think it'll be good because it's just a huge smattering of talent. So you also have like, you don't have this one person singing the whole time, so it's like a lot of people that can go off on different avenues, and like some of the most insane names in music in the last 20 years. All right. Number 2, what are 2 non-health related goals you have for the next year?
I want to skydive for 2 reasons. One, I'm petrified of heights, and 2, I was always too big to do it. And then this is probably going to sound weird to a lot of people. I've never ridden a roller coaster, like ever.
Wow.
I've always been too big. I was too short, and then by the time I got too tall, I was too big.
Yeah.
I've never ridden on a coaster, so I'm gonna knock those out this summer.
Awesome.
I don't know about the sky. Definitely a roller coaster.
Yeah. One of my, I'm also afraid of heights, and one of my things is when I have to be under 300 to go in Vegas. I don't know if you've been to Vegas before, but in Old Vegas, they have Old Vegas, which is the crazier part of Vegas, but I love going there because it's cheap to gamble. It's like half the price of the Strip, and they have a sky what do you call it, like a zip line over like Old Vegas. There's a net and all that, but I was like I just want to go on that. And I mean, you're a good amount above the street, but I'm like that's like my on my list, my bucket list after I hit my certain goal weights. But yeah, that's awesome. I think roller coasters are super easy, right? I'm guessing you have like a Six Flags or something nearby, right? Yeah.
There's like a Six Flags in like in Massachusetts where it's like 45 minutes away from me.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, because I mean they're all over the Northeast, so you know, especially you're in between such large cities, and then not far from any of them.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Question number 3: if someone came to you saying they were lacking motivation to stay consistent, what 3 pieces of advice would you give to them?
Believe in yourself, even when you think it's not going to go well. The worst thing you could do is to try not reach your goals is not try. To understand that this is a process and that you're going to have good days and bad days. And this isn't just, even with any goal or with life, sometimes it's like a slingshot. You take a step backwards to go forward even further.
I like it. Okay. Question number 4: what have you discovered about yourself during your journey or transformation that surprised you the most?
I don't have that much fear. I used to be afraid of everything that, like I talked about it earlier, with like having anxiety and stuff like that. I just had to find myself and find a lane that I can navigate and be comfortable in, and understand that it doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter what people think. What matters is what I feel and what I think. It's called self-esteem for a reason. I feel good for me, and I won't let anybody take happiness or joy or make me feel bad or make me feel upset about what I'm doing. And that includes like posting something, working out on something, or what I eat. It's my journey. And that's what people should understand. It's their journey. They are the main character in the story that they're telling.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said earlier, fuck them.
Yep.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I know I kind of just pulled it out of nowhere, but yeah, it's kind of as you get near, like I realized as I got in my 30s, it was like I don't really have time for your bullshit, so I just give up trying to care.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. So last question: if in 150 years science fails to save us, and all that is left is a book about your life, what would the title be, and what would the blurb tell us about Levi?
It'll be called How Shit Got Real. And the blurb will be story of a man that changed, story of a man that took the impossible and made it possible.
Awesome. I like it a lot. Because definitely did that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, again, I want to thank you for being on the show. I wanted to give you a chance to plug anything that you have, if it's like Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I don't know what all your accounts are on, because everybody has a million of them.
I mean, I do have a TikTok. It's L Boogie Trey 5 at TikTok, and then I have my Instagram, which I'm primarily on. So if people ever have any questions or need advice or anything like that, definitely reach out at my Instagram at Fluffy2Fitness85. And also, we're doing the Radical Body Transformation Challenge. If people can still sign up on till January 31st, and it's an opportunity to just talk to people, you know, and there are people in your lane that were where you were. So, like, you have a good opportunity, and it's something that provides a spark, right? That's all motivation is a spark, a moment in time. So if you get like a little bit of motivation, a little bit of a spark, why not do something you're not just transforming your body, you're transforming your mind, your spirit, and you get to meet new people. I mean, I've met a lot of people doing it. I met a lot of people in this fitness journey, and that's the best thing about when you embark on something, is that the fitness community, like the real fitness community, not like anybody that does all the, like the real fitness community, there's a lot of people that are out there that really just want to help you win and be better and to be healthy. And that's the end goal. It's not to sell something and make a ton of money. It's to make sure that the world's a healthier, happier place. You know, if you can, my philosophy is this, is like, of course, I got bills, I got kids, I got grandkids. Like, I need to make money, right? But my job does that for me. I work a 9 to 5 at a retail store, and I get paid a decent amount of money to do that. But fitness is for fun. So if I can help somebody reach their goals and say, hey, look, I've seen what you're doing. You're doing a great job. If you ever need anything, reach out to me. I mean that, because my wife claims at me, but I'm on my phone like a lot. So like if I get a message or a DM, I will respond to it, you know? So and that's something that we do at the Transformation Challenge. And it's an opportunity just to try something new and to talk to people that are where you are. And that's sometimes is like how I said earlier, how I got a whole bunch of likes on posting just a photo of me in a hoodie, but I was smaller. Sometimes like getting a compliment from a complete stranger can go a long way.
Yeah, for sure. It really can. All right. So I'll include the links to all that stuff in the show notes, because it's always helpful for people to click that instead of trying to remember all the account names or whatnot in the website. But yeah, so just check out the show notes if you want to hit up Levi on any of his accounts, or check out the RBT, which, I mean, I had Anthony a few weeks ago talk about it as well before it launched. So anyway, I want to thank everyone for listening or watching this episode all the way to the end. You made it. Congratulations. Thanks for tuning in this long. Make sure you check out the show notes. Like I said, check out my website, becomingbrett.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at becomingbrett. You can follow the show on Instagram at becomingmorepod. Until next time, make sure you give us a 5-star review or DM me your thoughts about the show. And make sure you come back next week to learn how we can all become more.